Do you ever finish a tutorial and think, yeah, I get it. Then the next day you can't recreate any of it? That's the difference between recognition and understanding. And it's exactly why tutorials keep you stuck. So now I'll show you the fix I use to make real progress and finally ship games. So there's this very core concept in learning that you need to understand if you want to understand why tutorials it feels productive, but it doesn't make you actually understand the thing and be able to recreate it the next day. And that's going to be that tutorials is what we call passive learning. And passive learning, my definition of passive learning is basically when you don't use your brain to learn. So you basically just consume. It can be, for example, learning languages by simply reading the language. You're like passively learning the language by just reading. And in game development specifically, that's when you watch a tutorial and you might even follow along. So you just sit there, you watch the tutorial, you maybe have it on your screen, then you just recreate what you see there on your screen here, and you have it in your project. That's what you call learning, and yeah, it doesn't work. And the reason why it feels productive, but in reality it isn't really, is because of this very well-known concept in learning research, like outside of game development. This is just how learning works in general. And that's going to be that passive learning, which includes watching tutorials and following along. It creates what we call the illusion of competence. That's when you can follow along and you can recognize everything that's happening on the screen. And you can follow along, but since you didn't struggle with the thing and you didn't actually use it yourself, you just hear it and it goes into your brain. It's like at the front of your brain, but it's not at the long-term memory because you never struggled with the thing. You never got any feedback from it. You just recreate it, so it's not going to be in your long-term memory. So in turn, it feels productive. You feel very competent. You feel like you can actually do the thing that you just watched, but in reality, it's not going to be in your long-term memory. You're not going to understand how the thing works thoroughly because you didn't actually try to figure out and struggle with actually implementing it yourself, and thus you're not going to be able to use it. So I kind of mentioned this, but let me clarify. Tutorials, it gives us what we call recognition, and recognition and understanding are these two different things in learning. So we have recognition, which is basically when we can follow along and we can understand something in the moment, and we have real understanding, which is when we're able to actually understand a concept and be able to use it practically long term. That's the difference. We can actually use it practically, and it's going to be in our long-term memory, and we're actually going to understand the ins and outs on how this specific thing that we're learning in the tutorial, or we're not going to learn in the tutorial now, but the thing that we're learning, we can actually use it practically. And in coding, that can be, for example, the specific line of code. You can use the specific line of code in your own projects very practically in different scenarios, and you have it in your long-term memory. Tutorials, it doesn't give you the understanding to actually do that, to be able to use it practically and have it in your long-term memory. It only gives you the recognition about it. So you feel productive, you feel like you know it, you can follow along in the moment, sure, but you're not going to be able to practically understand it. That's the difference. You can probably like think of the difference in your own life. So just to give you an example in my own life, it's when I bake with my girlfriend. For example, there was this one specific moment where we made an apple cake, and like we were following the instructions, and she kind of knew it already, but we followed the instructions, and she told me like what to do, like pour this over this thing, make the apples in like this specific thing on the cake or whatever. I don't remember any of it. I don't remember how to make the apple cake. I could follow along in the moment, I could follow the instructions, but I have no idea how to make an apple cake. If you ask me, I wouldn't be able to do it. I don't know how to make an apple cake, even though I made the apple cake in the moment. And why is that? Well, it's because I just followed the instructions. I didn't try anything myself. I didn't use my brain while cooking. I just followed the instructions. I poured the whatever flour and mixed the eggs or whatever I did. I don't remember. I don't remember anything. And that's because what I did was that I got the recognition about what I was going to do. Okay, now I'm going to pour this into this thing, whatever. I have no clue. I have no clue how to do it right now. I have no clue how to make an apple cake, even though I have done it. And that's just to give you an example of how passive learning, which is when you don't use your own brain, about how passive learning, it gives you recognition. You can follow along just fine, you can understand it in the moment, but you're not going to be able to practically remember it and use it in the future. That's just to give you an example. So I also kind of mentioned this like indirectly, that when you just watch tutorials, you didn't struggle with the thing I said. Okay, let's focus on that. You don't struggle with the thing when you just watch it at all. And that's partially the reason why you, and including me when I was beginner, loved tutorials. It's because it feels so easy. But I'm telling you, watching tutorials, it's not that easy when you just waste months and you haven't built anything and you haven't learned anything. You just wasted time. Then it's not going to be as fun. Then it's not that easy. If you do the hard work right now, you're actually going to build real skill. You're going to have something to show. You're going to have something to publish. You're going to be able to monetize it, and you actually be able to be a game developer, not just someone that watches tutorials and wastes time. Because if you just watch tutorials, sure, it's easy in the moment because you don't have to think, you don't have to struggle with anything. It's very easy to follow along and you feel good, you feel productive, as we talked about. I get that. I was in a similar position as you, but it's not as fun when you're going to quit. I quit game development for multiple years because I was just stuck in the tutorial hell. I didn't build anything that I could show off. I didn't gain anything from it. I just watched tutorials. I wasted time. I didn't understand anything. I didn't have a single script under my belt. I hadn't made anything without a tutorial at all. Never. And that's why I quit game development. And there was like, we had coding in school, and then I was kind of interested in learning C++. So I started learning C++. I'm just going to give you a quick story about how I figured out and the method that I'm going to give you, just to give you a quick story so you understand it better. I learned C++ and I learned it. And the thing with C++ is that you don't have the same tutorial culture, which you can call it, as in game development. Like for example, in game development, there's like thousands and probably millions of tutorials on YouTube that you can watch, and they have so many views. They're so high quality, they're so nice. The guy can explain so nice and easy. You can make so many cool things by watching tutorials. That's like the culture in game development. But when you learn C++, it's not going to be that many, like at least that I know of. It's not going to be the same thing. So you're kind of forced to struggle and you're kind of forced to build, because that's kind of what you do when you learn these like dry, boring things, because like tutorials is not going to be as appealing in C++ than it's going to be in game development, where you can make like a rocket shooter, awesome game with free assets and you can download everything, whatever. Making like a tutorial calculator, making a tutorial about a calculator app in a console is not going to be as appealing. So just to kind of like reflect why C++ tutorial hell culture is not that big. But yeah, anyway, so I was kind of forced to struggle. I was forced to build in C++, and I just figured out that I learned so many things about C++ that I could make like huge projects. I could make like thousands of lines of code just by gradually just struggling and trying to build myself in C++. Compare that to the hours of tutorials that I watched when I tried to learn game development. I couldn't write a single line of code myself. So you see this huge difference. I learned so quickly when I just struggled and built things myself in C++, and I didn't watch tutorials. I just built things. I just made this like bank program. I could make like thousands of lines of code with passwords and encryptions and all these things by not watching tutorials alone, just by Googling when I had a problem and by trying to build something and yeah, making these small projects. And then I even made this huge bank project. This is when I figured out how learning actually works. And I did a little bit more research, and I figured out that this was actually researched, like in learning research, that active learning and struggling and the desirable difficulty is essential when we're going to learn something, and especially in these fields like programming and math, for example, these logical things. It's so essential. So remember this, to have active learning and to have a desirable difficulty and to actually struggle with something before we seek the solution. So before you ask AI, you need to struggle with the thing. So I'm going to tell you specifically how you're going to do this. I know this was kind of overwhelming, but I'm going to tell you like specifically how you're going to implement this. I'm going to break it down very cleanly for you. But first, I just want to set out the things I'm going to tell you now. The framework that I'm going to give you, the struggle, build, repeat framework that I'm going to give you is just a small part of what I teach inside of Smartini. So inside of Smartini, I guarantee that you'll go from stuck in tutorial hell to having a fully released game in only 60 days or less, or I'll personally coach you for free. So I'm risking my own time here because I'm so confident that you will release within only 60 days if you follow the checklist and the blueprint that I made. So if you want to check it out and learn more, it's the first link in the description. You can click that right now because there you have everything that I'm going to tell you right now either way. But either way, now I'm going to tell you specifically what you can do today to start learning and applying these concepts that I talked about into game development specifically. Okay, so I talked about the C++ story. I kind of mentioned this struggle, build, repeat framework in the CTA. And yeah, that's what I meant. When I figured out that we actually need to struggle and we need to build to learn something effectively, I made what I call the struggle, build, repeat framework. So this is how we're going to apply active learning and struggling into learning game development. When you're implementing these small features, you need to struggle with the thing before you seek the solution. So for example, if you are a beginner, you probably only know a few lines of code. Okay, first, go into the game engine, do these lines of code, sure, write them. Then you're going to set a small goal to make a small feature. So this is not going to be like make a whole game, it's going to be just a little thing that you can probably do in like 10-20 minutes. You're going to struggle and try to guess your way through actually finding that solution before you even watch a tutorial, before you even Google. You're just going to try and guess yourself, just restrict information for around 10-20 minutes while you're implementing this next mechanic, this little goal that you set yourself. If you can't implement this very specific, it can be very small. It can be, for example, to add force, to make something jump, not like the entire jumping, but just to add force. That can be like the goal that you set for yourself. You can have that as a goal, and you can try to just figure out how you're going to make this thing jump by just experimenting, trying to like guess in your IDE, trying to use the intelligence to your advantage. Try to just guess your way through finding the solution. If you can't do it within 10-20 minutes, what I wanted to do is use official documentation. I wanted to use Google. I don't want to use AI for this or tutorials. I wanted to use the thing that's still going to be the struggle, and that's going to be to use Google, because then you need to specifically implement that Google search, the Google solution, official documentation. You get everything that you need. You just implement that into your own code, and you still need to think, but you're going to be able to do it. You just need enough time. You need to think, but you're still going to be able to implement the thing. You're still going to get the answer. You're still going to get everything that you need if you use official documentation or like an official forum or whatever it might be. So just do this. Try to always implement one line of code at a time. Don't think in an entire game or like an entire prototype system. Just focus on one line of code at a time. And when you actually just spend a lot of time struggling with the thing before you implement it, you're going to learn it so much better. And especially when you're a beginner, it's very important to understand these fundamental things very good, because the fundamental things that you're going to learn is basically going to be like 80% of coding anyway, are just going to be these foundational things that you can learn like in like a few weeks with this system. So you also kind of notice that I have the repeat inside of the struggle build repeat name, and that's going to be that you basically should focus on making first a small mechanic. So make one line of code at a time, make a small mechanic, then turn these small mechanics, make multiple of them, make them into a small little prototype. And it's going to be a bonus if you make a small prototype that's going to be relevant to the first game that you want to make. So for example, if you want to make a 3D shooter after the first game, like a small 3D shooter, just try to make mechanics and try to make a prototype that's relevant to that, so that you can reuse it and you have the knowledge to implement the things that you actually need in your first game and the games that you want to make in the future. So that can be, for example, make experiments where you focus on shooting, for example. Make a turret that shoots, make the turret rotate, do all these things that could be relevant to your first game. I think I gave you so much value in this video, so just think about what I can do inside of Smart Indie. It's the first link in the description. It's going to be totally worth it. Either way, I'm so glad that you learned all of this. It's going to help you a ton if you actually apply it, so take it seriously, please. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.